Come on in. We have a great old black and white mystery movie here on Hastings Mystery Theater. Our feature film will begin following our movie introduction. Leave us your comments in the comment section and hit the like and subscribe buttons. This helps our channel grow. And then stay with us until the end. You'll be glad you did.
Coming soon to Hastings Mystery Theater.
It's a 1944 mystery. The Mark of the Whistler. A drifter's claim to a dead bank account gets the attention of a female news reporter, a storekeeper and two brothers. It stars Richard Dix, Janice Carter and Porter Hall. Don't miss The Mark of the Whistler.
Good evening. Welcome to Hastings Mystery Theater. I'm your host and mystery master, Randall Schaefer. Tonight, the corridors of mystery take us back to 1936 for a Columbia picture entitled Alibi for Murder. Radio reporter Perry Travis wants an interview with a reclusive scientist, John Foster. He follows Foster's secretary Lois to Foster's home and arrives just as a shot rings out. Foster has been murdered. This is a better story than an interview. Travis phones the police and hurries to his radio station to break the news over the air. He is at the forefront of the story. With the help of Lois, he intends to stay on the case until the killer is discovered. An armaments manufacturer offers Travis money for a missing formula Foster had created before his death, should Travis come across such a thing in his investigation. What is this formula? Was it the motive behind Foster's murder? Our star is William Gargan. Gargan was born in Brooklyn in 1905. During Prohibition, after high school, he sold bootleg whiskey to New York City speakeasies. When Prohibition was repealed, he became a private detective. He is probably the only actor to play a detective who had actually once been a detective. Gargan's brother was an actor, and while visiting him backstage, he was bitten by the acting bug. He was best known as Martin Kane, Private Eye, in the radio and television show that ran from 1949 through 1951. In 1958, Gargan was diagnosed with throat cancer. Doctors had to remove his larynx, and Gargan was forced to talk with the aid of an artificial voice box. But talk he did. He became an anti-smoking spokesperson for the American Cancer Society. He died in 1979 at the age of 73. He lived 21 years after his cancer operation, and his cause of death was not cancer-related. Let's return to 1936 and enjoy William Gargan in Alibi for Murder.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, really arrived and no longer a myth or legend is that mighty mistress of the sky, master of the skies, the giant Zeppelin Hindenburg. Beside it, other ships seem puny and insignificant. By our own Los Angeles looks like a fairgrounds excursion. What a ship, what a ship. It seems unbelievable. It was only 61 hours ago that Dr. Eckner shouted, "Auf Schiff," German for all aboard at Frederickshafen. But here he is, from Germany to Jersey in 2.5 days. That, my friends, is making time. For once, your narrator is speechless, words fail him. And when Perry Travers admits that, it's an event without parallel. Even as I speak, the passengers are landing. And what a passenger list. Reads like the roll call of the who's who of the old world and the new. We have celebrities from every walk of life. From Gloria Dawn of the movies to that distinguished American scientist who recently won the Nobel Prize for Chemistry, John J. Foster. And if it's humanly possible, I'm going to bring you the scoop of scoops and get the usually elusive Mr. Foster to say a few words. Right now, my able assistant, Brainy Barker, is trying to get him to the microphone.
Oh, there he is, Mrs. Foster. John!
Oh, just a minute, folks. Here comes Mr. Barker now.
What's that? Don't you get the idea? It's a new handy. Dr. Egner just gave it to me, brought it over from Germany. It's the Hindenburg pulling up to the mooring mast. Look.
Those handies of yours will drive me cuckoo.
Oh, that's good, too. I like that. And
Who are you?
I'm Shot.
You are? Where?
Young man, I'm Mr. Shot. Julius E. of Shot, Weaver, and Shot.
How do you do, Mr. Shot? I'm Mr. Perry Travers. Won't you say something into the microphone?
Well, I'd be delighted, Mr. Travers.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Lois, if you'll attend to the baggage, I can get away before the press finds me.
Yes, Mr. Foster, you'd better hurry. They'll be here in a minute.
Come along, Norma. We'll see you at home, Lois.
Say, Paul, have you seen Foster around anywhere?
Yeah, over by customs.
Oh, thanks.
Say, you think you can go on the air for you?
I know I can.
If I ever get you 10, you don't. Foster never talks. Say, he makes the Sphinx sound like the Great Gabbo.
They all talk to me.
Ah, Foster won't.
Here's the declaration.
I'm sorry, but I'll have to inspect all of your baggage.
That's all right. I'll wait.
Is this Mr. Foster's luggage?
It is.
Oh, well, where is he?
He's very busy. Can I do anything for you? I'm his secretary.
Well, I'd like to speak to him.
Mr. Foster never talks to anyone.
Yes, I've heard that before.
But not from Mr. Foster. He really means it.
Well, I've got to nail him before he gets away.
Why must you? He's very busy.
Part of my job, sister. Part of my job.
I guess everything's in order.
Thank you.
Look, miss, what did you say your name was?
I didn't say, but it's Allen. Lois Allen.
Now, look, Miss Allen, I'll make a little deal with you. If you tell me where Mr. Foster is, I'll buy you a pair of tickets for the best show in town.
Well, I don't want your tickets, but I tell you what I'll do. You help me with this baggage, and I'll tell you where he is.
It's a deal. There, that's that. Now,
Thank you.
tell me, where's Mr. Foster?
In that plane.
What was the idea of lying to me?
I didn't lie to you. I said I'd tell you where he is, and I did.
But you said he was busy.
He was very busy getting away from you.
So, you had me closing baggage while he made his getaway.
Part of my job, mister. Part of my job.
Now, all I want is a few minutes with Mr. Foster.
I'm very sorry, sir, but Mr. Foster will see nobody.
Oh, no. Come, Jeeves. I'm not asking the impossible.
I beg your pardon, sir. Harkness is the name. And if you're entertaining notions that I can be bribed, that is impossible.
What's all this, Harkness?
Just carry on the job, Miss Allen.
I thought a smart man knew when he was beaten.
Oh, a smart man is never beaten. He may be delayed, put off, or stymied.
By a lot of luggage.
Or often by a pretty girl. But he always gets his man.
Oh, that may be true in fiction or on the screen, but in real life he generally gets thrown out. Now, before we do that, I'll ask you to leave.
Oh, come, Miss Allen. A girl like you wouldn't do a thing like that to a boy like me. Say, that sounds like a song title, or a music cue. May I have the next waltz? Or would you rather swing it?
I'm afraid we'll have to swing you right off the ground.
What's going on here?
Oh, Mr. Easton, will you please get rid of this young man? He's trying to disturb Mr. Foster.
I'm sorry, sir, but my name is Perry Travers, and I'd like to interview Mr. Foster on the air. I don't care who you are or what you want. Clear out. Well, don't be unreasonable. We are not being unreasonable. We want you to get out. Well, all I want is a few minutes with him. Lois, you know he never gives interviews.
I've told him that over and over.
I'm sorry if I'm intruding, but if Mr. Foster will give me a few minutes on my program, I'll fold up like Omar's tent. It's out of the question. He won't even have to leave the house. I'll pipe him right in here. Now, look, young man, we've had enough of you, and either you leave of your own accord or ours. Do I make myself plain? Well, since I'm outvoted, but I don't see why you don't leave it up to Mr. Foster. He's the one I want to interview. We are not going over all that again. That was a shot.
It came from the library.
Don't touch anything.
Oh.
Police headquarters, please. Hello. Lieutenant Conroy. Hello, Con. This is Perry Travers. Come out to the John J. Foster estate on Long Island in a hurry. Yes. And listen, you better bring the coroner with you. Yeah. Goodbye.
Conroy, the shot was fired at pretty close range. Who's that behind the couch?
Sir Conrad Stava, the munitions king.
What's he doing here?
House guest. The young fellow over by the French doors is Alvin McBride, Foster's assistant. The woman who fainted is Mrs. Foster, and the other girl is his secretary. The fellow leaning up against the table is Easton, his business manager. What do you think, Con?
Suicide in my book.
Couldn't you be mistaken?
I could, but it doesn't figure to be anything but suicide. Position of the body, only one set of fingerprints on the gun and they match his. Only one bullet missing. He must have killed himself.
Are you sure it couldn't have been murder?
That's impossible, because you and Perry, the butler and the girl were out of the room when the shot was fired. Isn't that right?
Right.
And you two say you were in the garden when you heard the shot.
Yes, we were. I thought it was the backfire of a passing motor, but Mrs. Foster had a premonition that something was wrong. So when she ran into the house, I followed her.
That accounts for two more of you.
What about him?
I had nothing to do with it, I tell you.
You were in here before the others.
But only a few seconds before. He was dead when I got here.
We got into the room too soon for him to have posed the body.
I didn't kill him.
Take it easy, kid. Take it easy.
All right. About all we can do here.
Okay, let's get going.
Oh, Con, just a minute. What are you going to do now?
Check up on the servants, but I know I won't find anything new.
Look, I'm on the air in 35 minutes. I scooped this story, and I'd like to spill it first. Do you mind?
Okay, kid.
Thanks. For some real news. I told you this morning that I'd positively be the first one to interview Mr. John J. Foster on the air. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen, but nobody will ever interview Mr. Foster. Just a half hour ago, he was found dead in his home in Long Island. Your reporter was in the house at the time the fatal shot was fired. Although the police have called it suicide, still, we cannot bring ourselves to accept this theory. It seems too much like suicide to be the real thing. And from the suicide cases we've covered before, it's never so perfect a pose, especially not in spur-of-the-moment cases. And since Mr. Foster left no note explaining his actions, if it was suicide, it must have been a last-minute decision. And that's the reason your correspondent feels that Mr. Foster was murdered. That's all for tonight, folks. This is Perry Travers talking. Tune in tomorrow night at 10, and again, I'll tell it first.
Remember, tomorrow night and every night, Perry Travers brings you his sensational reporting of the news for Gordon's Goddards, those sure, dependable friends that never let you down. Good night. Nice work, Perry.
Thanks.
Boss, do you really think it was murder?
Think I'd say so, but I didn't think so.
Oh, I don't know, but it sure makes a nice bedtime story. Hey, look, a new handy.
What's that?
A worm making a left-hand turn in an apple.
Ah, you and your handies. Yes? Oh, yes, he's here now. For you, Perry.
Oh, thanks. Hello? Yes? Oh, hello, Miss Allen.
I just heard your broadcast, and I want to see you about it. Yes, tonight, if possible.
Yes, I'd be glad to see you. I've got to stop at the Rendezvous Club for a few moments. You want to meet me there? About 30 minutes? Fine. Goodbye. Sit down.
Good evening, Mr. Travers. Is this where you gather your stories?
Well, there are any. Do you have something?
No, thanks.
Not even a drink or a sandwich?
Black coffee.
Waiter. Yes, Mr. Travers. A cup of black coffee and scotch and soda for me.
Yes.
Well, young lady, what's on your mind?
Well, before I begin, I'd like to explain my attitude earlier today.
Oh, skip it. It's all part of a day's work. Cigarette?
No, thanks. You see, part of my job was keeping the press away from Mr. Foster.
I understand. Go on.
At first, I thought you were just a nosy reporter, but I've changed my mind.
Thank you. And what wrought that miracle?
Your statement that you didn't believe Mr. Foster killed himself.
Why should that make you change your mind?
Because I don't believe he did any more than you do.
Why tell all this to me? Why not tell it to the police?
Oh, I tried to talk to Lieutenant Conroy, but he wouldn't pay any attention to me. Neither would anyone else. Mr. Travers, isn't there always as strong a motive for suicide as there is for murder?
Always. And as for suicide, it's usually more obvious.
Well, then why should a man kill himself with absolutely no reason?
Well, are you sure he didn't have a reason?
Well, I worked pretty close to Mr. Foster, and I happen to know that he was a successful and contented man. That's what makes it all so mystifying.
What do you mean, mystifying?
Well, isn't it mystifying when a man as eminent as Mr. Foster meets a violent death and no one even asks for an investigation?
It certainly is.
In this case, everyone acts as though they wanted the whole thing hushed up, forgotten about as quickly as possible. Especially his wife. If you'd seen the way she reacted when I suggested going to the police, you'd know what I mean. It makes the whole thing so frightening.
Well, was there any trouble between Foster and his wife?
No, but... Well, I don't think she was happy.
I see. We had a disappointed wife to the cast of characters. That's always interesting.
After the police left and the household settled down for the night, I noticed a light in the library. The door was open, and I saw the light moving frequently. I went to the door and saw Sir Conrad going through Mr. Foster's desk.
Are you positive?
I'm sure. I got a good look at him.
Have you any idea what he was looking for?
Not the slightest, except that he didn't find us. I just thought you might like to know.
I certainly do. Thanks a lot. Well, let's get out of this fire trap. Waiter.
Yes, sir?
Check, please. What's this? Waiter.
Yes, sir?
Did you make out this check?
Yes, sir. Why? Is there anything wrong, Mr. Travers?
Did you write this?
No, sir.
Get Venuti over here.
Yes, sir.
Look at this. Looks like I put my hoof in a hornet's nest, and it's not a good place for it to be.
What's the matter, Perry?
Since when do you let your help write messages to the customers on the bottom of checks?
I didn't write it, Mr. Venuti.
Then how did it get there?
I don't know.
Was it on there when the cashier gave it to you in the kitchen?
No, sir.
Did anyone else handle the check?
When I first got the check, I was coming over to Mr. Travers. When you called me, I put my tray down on the table over there. But that fellow, he could have done it. There was a customer there a couple of minutes ago.
You're right, Joe. I remember. He had on a check suit.
Well, that's that.
It's on me, Perry.
Well, then you keep it.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Now hold on to this check. I'm hoping to run into this bird.
All right.
Good night.
Good night, Perry. Oh, Joe.
Yes.
Tell the cashier to make out a duplicate check.
Yes.
And hand over that buck.
I'll get to work for that.
And you add it all up, and you net yourself a date, a blank cartridge, and a warning to lay off.
And what do you make of it, Professor?
Just a friendly tip. They don't want you swinging a pickaxe in that Foster case because you might dig up something.
You mean murder instead of suicide?
Well, I figure if it's murder, there's really only one thing to do.
What's that?
Arrest the murderer.
Bravo. And how do we do that?
You figure that one up, because doggone it, I'm doing all the work around here.
Mr. Travers?
Yes.
Oh, may I see you alone?
That gives me a great idea.
I'm Porter Emerson of E.R. Shelby and Company, manufacturing chemist.
How do you do? Sit down.
Thank you. You've heard of us, I suppose?
My medicine chest is a tribute to your fame.
Good. Well, I've been with the firm almost 17 years now. But today I'm employed as a sort of ambassador of goodwill.
I see. And just where do I fit in?
Well, I heard your broadcast last night. It interested us, the firm, a great deal.
I don't get the connection.
I don't know whether you know it or not, but John J. Foster recently perfected a formula for a product that is to be known as bipepsidol, a chemical preparation for instant relief of stomach and intestinal trouble.
I didn't know.
Now, that formula will be worth millions to any manufacturing chemist.
Perhaps so, but for the second time, I don't see where I fit in.
Well, Mr. Travers, you're a pretty clever person. And going by past performances, we feel, that is, the firm feels, that if you don't solve this case, you'll come pretty close. Maybe even close enough to stumble onto that formula.
And if I should, you'd like me to hand it over to you, is that it?
Oh, no, we're not that optimistic. All we'd like is to be allowed to work with you.
In what way?
Well, I'd like to stick close enough to the case to get whatever clues you uncover before you put them on the air.
Well, would you mind telling me why?
Well, frankly, because there are other firms that know of this formula. And there's going to be a lot of scrambling for it when it's found.
Oh, I see. And your firm is willing to crack out with a little wampum as sort of an insurance, is that it?
Exactly. But we'll do better than a wampum. How about this for a retainer?
Well, $1,000 in coin of the realm. It's a grand little note. No marks on it?
No, of course not. Now, all we're asking is that you work with us.
You mean for us, don't you, Mr. Emerson?
You're taking the wrong attitude.
I'm not taking anything. I've got one boss, and he pays me very nicely.
But I'm not asking you to betray your boss.
No, I've been propositioned before, many times. Ever since I've been on the air, and before that, when I was on the papers, they tried to get to me. I don't serve two masters.
But, Mr.
There's
Travers...
no use wasting your time and mine. If you want the news, listen to the broadcast.
Now, wait.
I've heard your little story, and you've heard mine, so we're even.
Well, I'm sorry you feel that way about it.
Good day.
Good day.
Hello? E.R. Shelby and Company? Do you have a Mr. Porter Emerson there? May I speak to him? Oh, he's not in. No message, thank you.
I got him. Hey, who was the big magoo?
A bird by the name of Emerson with E.R. Shelby.
Does he want us to broadcast for him? We might need a new sponsor.
No such luck. He just tried to ply me with filthy lucre.
In English, please.
According to him, Foster has just perfected $1 million formula called bipepsidol. Guaranteed to cure stomach ulcers while you wait.
Well, what are you worrying about? Now you got something to work on. You got a motive, $1 million motive.
Not enough.
All right, make it $5 million. Don't be afraid to spend a little money.
You don't get what I mean. Murders aren't committed for patent medicines. At least not on my block.
Then you live on the wrong block. Now you take
I think I'll run down to Foster's. I don't like the smell of this. I want to see what they know about it. I know it's rather indelicate of me to be here at this time, but I have something to ask. Mr. Easton, would you, as Mr. Foster's business manager, know whether he were working on anything along the drug line, say, for the cure of disease?
I'm afraid not. I only handle his finances. I know nothing about chemistry.
Well, does anybody know?
Are you trying to be funny?
What's funny about that?
Nothing, only it's easy to see you never knew the great Foster.
What do you mean?
I mean that this great noble scientist whom the world has honored was nothing but a butcher. Yes, a butcher. You spoke of him working for humanity, contributing to mankind. He never cured. He killed. Do you know why he got the Nobel Prize? For his work in steel. But what sort of steel? Steel to be used for construction? Not at all. Not even the Nobel Prize committee knew it. But his invention, Fosterite steel, the world calls it, is intended only for the making of big guns, for war, for slaughtering people. He was civilization's public enemy number 2. He deserves to be killed.
I'm afraid Mr. McBride is suffering from an overdose of undigested pacifism.
You would say that. You wholesale dealer of death. Foster's work was child's play compared to yours. You took his steel and turned it into instruments of destruction. It was for you he was inventing even greater horror than the world has yet known. He was merely a puppet, but you're the real enemy of society. You're civilization's public enemy number 1. You should have been killed along with him.
Would you like to undertake the task?
Yes. Right now.
I hated to do that.
I'm sorry. I asked for it. I guess I lost my temper.
Take it easy. I'm terribly sorry this happened. I guess that's about all I can get for today. May I come back tomorrow? I may have something to report.
What time would you like to come?
Well, would 4:30 be convenient?
Quite all right.
Thank you. Then I'll be running along.
I'll see you to your car.
Thank you.
I didn't think McBride could rise to such emotion.
Well, that's what they said about Vesuvius after the first eruption. Oh, Miss Allen, may I present Brainy Barker, my right hand?
Hey, both hands. I do all the work around here. I'm glad to know you. Hey, that's a nice little dog you got there.
Raised him from a pup.
I'll see you tomorrow when I come out.
All right. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Come on, Skipper.
Boss, I think you got something there. Well, what to now?
I want to play that Emerson a return date. Drop me at Shelby's, then you go out and buy a magnifying glass, and I'll meet you at the office.
Magnifying glass? You mean one of those Sherlock Holmes-y gadgets?
That's right, Dr. Watson. I got my gum shoes on.
Very good, sir.
Mr. Travers?
Yes.
Won't you sit down?
Thank you.
What can I do for you?
May I see Mr. Emerson?
I'm Mr. Emerson. Porter J. Emerson is the full name.
Oh, there must be some mistake. I'm looking for another Mr. Emerson with Shelby's.
But I'm the only Emerson with this firm.
Are you sure?
I ought to be. I've been here almost 17 years.
Do you know whether John J. Foster ever entered into any negotiations with you?
I don't think so. I can check, of course. But it's hardly likely.
See. Well, thank you very much for letting me waste your time.
Oh, not at all. But would you mind telling me why you came to see me?
Oh, just an inquiring reporter delving into Foster's activities.
Is that so?
Yes.
Then let me tell you something that might interest you.
Yes?
Mr. Foster is dead.
Yes.
I got it.
What took you so long?
I got tangled up in a lot of free lunch.
I'm getting sick and tired of you eating 6.5 meals a day. I've had enough of it. Of you, too.
Oh, gee, boss, I didn't know.
You don't know anything. I think I'll let you have it. Now start saying your prayers.
Hey, look out, that might go off.
It will.
You missed me.
Did I? I'm sorry.
Hey, what's the big idea?
Come here and I'll show you. See any difference in these?
Yeah. They ain't the same caliber, but they're all blanks.
Now look at it through this.
Yeah, I see what you mean. I got it. Your souvenir ain't got the dents on it like the others.
Exactly. Those dents are hammer marks. The one I found out at Foster's hasn't any.
Well, how come?
These were fired from a gun. This one wasn't.
Boss, I think you got something there.
Wait a minute. Go ahead. Why, Sir Conrad. What in the world brings you here?
Any number of things.
You know Brainy Barker? Brainy, this is Sir Conrad Stava.
I'm glad to know you, Mr. Conrad.
Oh, would you sit down?
Thank you.
Well, your visiting me is something of the mountain coming to Muhammad.
2 reasons prompted my visit. The first is one of gratitude. I didn't get a chance to thank you enough for your part in this afternoon's unpleasantness.
Oh, skip that one. And the other?
Curiosity. You interest me enormously.
Thank you. When the mystery man of Europe shows interest in a radio reporter, that's something.
There's no mystery about me. The world knows I make armaments and munitions.
That in itself is mystery enough. Perhaps you could explain it. Why does a man deliberately set out on a career that can bring only poverty, ruin, and desolation to a world crying for peace?
If you're talking about wars, I'm afraid your reasoning is rather juvenile.
How so?
Because wars are inevitable. In fact, necessary. History shows us that wars must come at given intervals. So, there'll always be war. And I might as well sell munitions as the next man.
I see. While we make sacrifices, you play buzzard, safe up in a tree.
I didn't realize that you share views with our young man up this afternoon.
I can't see how anybody can make a racket out of slaughter for profit.
Well, that's one way of putting it. Good night, Mrs. Travis.
Oh, before you go, Sir Conrad, I'd like to ask you something. Would you mind telling me what you were looking for in Mr. Foster's desk last night?
Mr. Travers, I can see that you're more of a problem than I thought. Thank you very much for your time.
That guy's got the funniest line of who you ever put down in a book.
He means every word of it, too. The worst part of it is he's got a lot of people misled into believing...
Well, if he feels like that about killing on the wholesale, the little matter about knocking over Foster is just jelly beans to him, huh?
Certainly is.
Well, come on, let's go get a cup of coffee.
Are you all there?
Most of me is. Hey, is the fireworks over?
I'm not waiting to find out. Let's get out of here.
What's the matter with that dame? Is she crazy?
Hey, did you notice the attack didn't start until Conrad had left?
That's right.
They weren't looking for him. We were elected. Come on, let's get down to the studio. It's almost time for the broadcast.
And now back to the Foster case. Today your reporter was panned unmercifully for last night's broadcast in which he stated that John J. Foster had been murdered. But events since then have proved that he was right. Last night, I received a threatening letter warning me not to probe further into the case. But conclusive evidence came today when an attempt was made on my life. It proved to me beyond a shadow of a doubt that my original hunch was right. And now, whether the police like it or not, they'll have to proceed along the lines of murder. Tip to Lieutenant Conroy. Find the birds who bombarded my office and you'll definitely be on the right track. That's all for tonight, folks. Tune in tomorrow night at 10, and again, I'll tell it first.
What's that?
Well, that's my own idea. Steel shutters, you know what I mean, on account I'm fresh out of insurance.
Smart fella. Any calls?
Well, a couple from Conroy. Hey, he's madder than a buzzsaw, depending he's young. Said he'd be here about 10 o'clock.
He'll get over it.
Yeah, I jollied him long. I was telling him about a new handy I was working on. You know what, about the two crooks in the joint. I'd kill him, boy.
Why don't you take care of my office?
Well, Oh, the Hittenberger. Hey, what's the earmuff on the wall mean?
Means that dictograph was planted at 4:35 this morning. That's the time the clock stopped.
Well, who done it?
I don't know, but I think it's wired into the next office.
The poor farmers, they get the blame for everything.
Say, that place was vacant yesterday, wasn't it?
It was. Do you think there's any connection?
I'm sure of it.
Well, want me to go in and yank it out?
No, they'll get wise that we're onto them. We let them hear only what we want them to hear, but we gotta be careful what we say.
You're essential. What do you want me to do?
Go down to the office of the building and find out all you can about our neighbors.
Right. What are you doing? Hello, Con. The boss is in there.
Hello, Con.
Why, you no-good double-crosser.
Well, what's the matter?
If I wasn't on duty, I'd take a poke at you.
Well, before I give you the chance to see if you can, tell me what's eating you.
What's the idea of crossing me up and saying Foster was murdered? And you don't do it once, but twice.
Because now I'm twice as sure he was killed. Here, take a look at this. Think it's a gag?
When did you get this?
The other night at the rendezvous. There's something else I want to tell you.
Now, what are you doing?
I'll tell you at lunch. When did that happen?
It's planted at 4:35 this morning from the next office.
Who are those guys?
That's what I sent Brady to find out. The place was empty yesterday.
Maybe there'll be some fingerprints.
What'd you find out?
Plenty. Two guys moved in late yesterday afternoon, paid a month's rent in advance. One's a skinny, dark guy, and the other ain't. The superintendent will his pass key.
Doesn't work.
I didn't think it would. There's SWAT blacks on us. Come here. Go down and call headquarters. Get the fingerprint department. Tell them to send Freddie Peters up here with his camera.
Remember, headquarters.
Headquarters. If there's any prints around, we'll get them. As soon as they developed, we'll check these prints with every police bureau, the Department of Justice, and the Navy and War Departments. They're on record anywhere, we'll know the guy. As soon as I hear anything, I'll let you know.
Thanks. So long,
Come on, Freddie.
That's the bird that came into my office yesterday and gave me a phony stare.
Can you make positive identification?
Of course I can. Listen, Con, if he was to walk on in blackface and start singing a mammy song, I'd spot him like that.
Okay, then we'll pick him up on suspicion of murder.
He's probably in Timbuktu by now.
Well, if he hasn't left the country, we'll get him. We'll contact every department in the country, and I'll spread that picture till his mug's as familiar as Aunt Jemima's.
Good. You might have everybody watch at the Foster household. Somebody might take a notion to use a runout parlor.
I'll have them all covered.
And watch that office where the dictograph planted.
Okay, I'll do that, too.
Thanks a lot, Jed. It was swell.
Not at all. Thanks very much.
Much.
Which way do you go?
Got a date at the Fosters.
What's the matter, Pop? Huh? What's the matter? Lois.
Are you all right?
Oh, I guess so. Go get the others.
Take care of him.
Shall I get a doctor?
No, he'll be all right.
When I came in here, I found a man ransacking the desk. Then someone grabbed me from behind.
And you don't recall anything about either of them?
Very little. Except the man by the desk was very dark, possibly a Latin. And the other must have been very tall and strong because he handled me so easily I couldn't even turn around.
And then what happened?
Then they gagged and blindfolded me and took me out to the garage.
You're sure you never saw them before?
I'm sure I haven't.
I'm afraid that isn't going to be much help to me. What happened to you?
About the same as happened to Miss Lois, sir. Except that I know that I was the first in the garage.
I hope you can tell me something more.
I'm afraid not. I think I made it rather easy for them. I went to get my car to drive to town, and I had just gotten to the garage when I was struck from behind.
Tell me, what was that stuff that was in the bucket?
TAC2, calcium carbide.
Is it deadly?
I'll say it is. In the old days, they made illuminating gas out of it. Drop it in water, and it will give off a poisonous gas.
Mr. Foster kept drums of it in the garage for his experiments.
I see.
Oh, come in, Sir Conrad. Somebody just tried to kill Miss Allen, Harkness, and myself. Mr. Travers was wondering where you were.
I see.
Would you mind telling me where you were about 15 minutes ago?
If you were here in an official capacity, which you're not, the answer would be the same. None of your business. I explain nothing. But you may ask Mr. McBride here where you are.
Yes, Mac. Where were you when all this was going on?
When all what was going on?
When somebody tried to kill Lois, Harkness, and myself.
When did this happen?
A few minutes ago.
Where were you?
In my room reading.
Where is your room?
In the back of the house.
Overlooking the garage?
Why, yes.
Then how was it you didn't hear anything when I broke the windows of the garage, or even the barking of the dog?
Well, perhaps that happened when I stepped under my shower.
You read and take showers at very convenient moments.
Suppose I do. Then what? It doesn't prove I tried to kill them.
I wonder.
Oh, come, gentlemen. Let's stop this bickering.
Mr. Travers, in all this excitement, we really haven't begun to thank you.
Oh, don't thank me. I'm afraid the honors go to the pup.
Nevertheless, the credit is yours, Mr. Travers. And if ever I can show my appreciation...
You can. You all can.
What, how?
By not mentioning anything until I put it on the air.
Oh, certainly, if it can help you.
How can I express my thanks?
You can start by walking me to my car. Good day, gentlemen.
Have you any idea who did it?
No definite suspicions.
Can you tell me?
Not yet, but soon. There's one thing I can tell you, though. Pack your things and get out of this house. I don't think it's a very safe place to live.
I will. I'll leave tonight just as soon as I straighten out my affairs with Mrs. Foster.
Good. And if you'll wait till after the broadcast, I'll come out and help you move.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Travers, but you don't have to do that.
I know I don't have to, but I'd like to. And there's one other thing I'd like, too.
What?
Well, suppose you call me Lois and I'll call you Perry, or vice versa.
Why?
Just to make sure we get our names in the papers.
Yeah. At first, Con's sore because you don't invite him to the matinee in the garage. Well, he gets the broadcast, but he finally comes through with this. That Mrs. Foster hires herself a brace of staterooms deluxe on the Queen Mary sailing Saturday.
2 staterooms? Who's the other one for?
Well, the tickets are made out for herself and her maid.
Her maid?
Yeah.
Huh. When there's a maid rated deluxe stateroom on the Queen Mary.
All right, I'm listening.
We better check up on that one in the morning. A lot of bad eggs in that crate.
Hey, you don't suppose that phony Emerson's guy's got another one of those dictaphones planted around here someplace, do you?
No, I gave the place a thorough going over. Can't even find a pair of pajamas.
Yeah, well, think no more about it, because I borrowed them. On account I'm fresh out.
Yeah, you're fresh out of your mind. Hey, Brainy, come here, look.
What's the matter?
Look. That's the motive.
What do you mean, about the Yanks copping 2 games from the Tigers?
What else do you see?
I killed him because I loved him, says the world's iciest blonde. Gee, can you imagine if that dame didn't like the guy?
What does this mean?
That Uncle Sam for once stays home and minds his own business.
Doesn't that tell the whole story? War clouds over the world. Each nation distrusting its neighbor. Making treaties one day, breaking them the next. And what are you walking away for? Sit down, I want to tell you something. Even Lloyds of London are shifting the odds from week to week on the possibility of a new war.
A new war? Well, they haven't paid for the old one yet.
That doesn't make any difference. The same deal as the death is stacking the cards the same way. A few butchers who made a fortune in the last war will make even a greater one in the next. And why not? There's still a couple of 100 million young fellows who can be drafted to be shot.
Oh, you don't have to draft him. All you need's a good brass band. That's how they got me the last time.
All right, now listen to this. A prominent chemist whom we all know worked with munitions is killed. The world's greatest manufacturer of armaments is in the house. After the death, he goes looking for something, according to Lois, who certainly isn't lying.
Oh, I get it. Then this Quillen guy who ain't Emerson, who's in munitions himself, he comes through with a phony story about a formula.
And it isn't exactly a phony. There is a formula, but it's not for bellyache cures.
Oh.
It's for munitions.
Well, then what else we got?
All right, now let's look at it again. First, there's the wife who's not happy with her husband. Then there's the pacifist who's a little too odd. Then there's Stava, a man who'd stop at nothing to get what he wanted.
Oh, and don't forget the phony bullet.
I'm coming to that.
Yeah.
This phony Emerson, or Quillen, is certainly no bargain. I checked him and found out that he and Stava are not working together. They're oppositions. Then there's the bullet that wasn't fired from a gun. I was warned off for being a wise guy and then was shot at.
Oh, boss, they got me. Well, I got it, sir.
Say, you remember when we were shot at, we didn't hear any guns being fired?
Yeah, that's right. There wasn't any noise. How come?
That's easy. Whoever did it used a silencer.
A silencer? You mean one of those things that works without a bang-bang?
Exactly. And that tells the whole story.
All right, who done it?
I don't know yet. There's still something that's stumping me.
Oh, what's that?
The garage incident.
Oh.
What time is it?
3:47 and a quarter.
Come on, baby, we trek.
Where to?
Foster's.
Foster's at 4 o'clock in the morning? That's no time to go calling on nice people.
Who said they were nice people?
Let's get him now, Mike. Nothing doing. The boss's orders. We just follow him and see what he knows.
You nuts? You want a gallery?
Well, what I thought...
Don't think.
What do you think?
I don't know. Let's see what happens.
Hey, what are you going to do with that?
I'm going to throw this stuff in the water and see how long it takes for us to pass out.
Well, it's nice to have been seeing you.
Where you going?
I'm going home. I just happen to think I let the water running in a sink.
Come here. I'm not going to kill you. Lie down.
Oh, no, you first. Oh, I don't like this.
Now, in less than 2 minutes, we should be dead.
Uh-huh. Yeah, then the whole world will say they done it for Gordon's garters. Good to the last drop.
Lie down.
Goodbye, Gordon. Goodbye, Gordon. Goodbye, Gordon. Goodbye, Gordon. Goodbye, Gordon. Goodbye, Gordon. Goodbye, Gordon.
How do you feel?
Only the Greeks have a word for it, and I forgot it.
Tell you what you do. Sing something, and when you start fading, we'll drag one another out.
What'll I sing?
Oh, anything but pianissimo.
Oh, I don't know that one.
Sing.
I wish I was in Dixie. I do. I wish I was in Dixie.
Wanna wake the children? Keep it down.
Down, down, da, down, down, da, down, da, down, da, down.
All right. I don't know which is worse, the smoke or your singing.
Well, I ain't so good in solo, but you'd ought to hear me with the quartet. Boy, I sing like a bird.
They're wised up. Look at the smoke.
Hey, boss. Oh, boss! Oh, boy. Gee, boss, I thought sure you was gone. Hey, how long was Ben?
3 minutes and 27 seconds.
Oh, we been dead a whole minute? We don't know it.
Somebody should have told us.
Hey, what? Hey, look.
Well, I'm a sledge-footed duck. No wonder we didn't croak. That ventilator up there.
Nobody can die in here. Everything goes out up there.
Well, what do you think of that?
You know, there must be sulfur or something in there to make it smoke.
Well, what's the next move?
Come on, let's get out of here. Now what? And so to bed.
Wait a minute. Let him get a little start on us.
What do you think, buddy? You sure you got your guy? Rainey's as good as tucked away in that special reserve seat in Sing Sing. Take a look back, boss. I can't take my eyes off the road. Maybe he's following us. That's what I felt. Look out!
Nice going, Mike. Pull up. Got your lights.
You all right, boss?
Think so. How are you?
Well, I'm all right. Gee, and it's my first accident, too.
That was no accident, son. Those birds knew what they were doing. Well, guess we better start working the thumb. I'll send the auto club after this.
Hey, here comes a truck now.
Give us a lift, buddy. Sure thing. Hop in. Hey.
What are we going to do? I'll tell you on the way over. Come on.
Thanks a lot, buddy. Okay. Hey, what time do you want me? Be in the office about 9:30. I'll be there by then. 9:30? It's after 7 now. When do we sleep? In October. Well, that's good enough for me. Hey.
Keep your hands where they are. Don't move.
What's this?
What do you think it is?
We gave you a friendly tip at the rendezvous, but you were too dumb to take it.
Oh, so you're the birds that wrote the note.
Yeah. You ought to pay more attention to your fan mail. Come on, let's get going. Say, Joe, how do you like this? Perry Travers does a fade out and he ain't there to solve it.
Yeah. The big bamboo mystery without a gumshoe degree. Ain't that a tip?
Say, officer, how far is it to Times Square?
About 30 blocks that way. Thanks, fellas. I'll get out here. Step out. Get after those two guys. They wanted for foster case. Get on there. Follow that car. Give her all you got, Mike.
Come on. Nice work, Sarge. Let's take these birds down to headquarters. Conroy wants to see them. Come on. Come on.
You're wasting your time. I don't know nothing about it.
Why'd you try to get rid of me last night?
Who, me? I was off playing Monopoly.
Oh, you were, huh? And what about the ride this morning?
The guy asked which way is Grantstone, and we say we'll take him there, that's all.
Oh, cut the comedy, Joe. We got enough to put you away for keeps.
What are you gonna hold me on? You can't prove nothing.
Maybe not, but a 3-time stir bug on parole caught with a rod rate's a long stretch.
I've done it before.
Why don't you tell us who you're working for?
I'm not working for anybody.
All right. I guess I'll toss you back to the boys and let them give you the once-over lightly. Maybe that'll refresh your memory.
And maybe it won't. You tried that before. You ought to remember.
All right, Al. Throw him back.
Well, that's 2 out. Couldn't get anything out of them.
They're plenty tough babies. You better not wait for them to crack.
That's that. Can I use your phone?
Go ahead.
Which one? Vanilla, chocolate, or strawberry?
Vanilla.
Hello? Oh, yes, Terry. About 8:30 tonight? Well, yes, I think I can have everyone here. But I don't understand.
I'll send Brady down this afternoon with everything you need. I'll be down later on this evening myself. Goodbye.
What's this all about?
I'll tell you on the way down.
Down where?
Passport Bureau. Let's go. I wasn't sure of my case until late last night, and suddenly the pieces began to fit.
What do you mean?
Well, a couple of things happened then that proved that I was right. The jigsaw turned into a perfect pattern, and I was sure of my case. Any jury would convict.
That came from the library.
Oh, there's no one here.
There has been. Who? Why, Lois, just a couple of minutes ago.
We saw her come in.
That's right, you did. But that wasn't the first time she came in. She'd been in the house before. Was in this room, in fact, and took a blank cartridge bullet like this and threw it into the fireplace. Then she hopped out the window, onto the lawn, around the grounds to the front of the house where you saw her enter. You see, while she was talking to you for a couple of minutes, she was doing exactly what the murderer did when he established an alibi for himself. Because it takes approximately 2 minutes for the cartridge to get hot enough to explode.
Very clever trick.
A little too clever. The inventor of this almost perfect crime made one slip. He didn't realize that the blank cartridge might bounce out of the fireplace and be found.
How amazing.
No, how careless.
Who did it?
Mr. Foster was killed by someone he never would have suspected. By someone who had every right in the world to be in this room.
Stop stalling. Who did it?
I'm coming to that. The gun was equipped with a Maxim silencer, which, when fired from close range, leaves powder marks but makes no noise. He then removed the silencer and placed the gun in Mr. Foster's hands to ensure the right set of prints, after which he draped the body in the usual pose of suicide. He then took the blank cartridge and threw it into the fireplace, hopped out the window, the same as Lois did a few minutes ago, and covered herself by talking to us. Isn't that what you did, Mr. Easton?
Well, you're mad. You're out of your mind.
Oh, no, I'm not.
But they even tried to kill me.
If you're referring to that phony garage episode, don't. I know all about it. Can't kill anybody there because I tried it. You gave a good performance, though. You did it to throw suspicion from yourself because you knew I was getting hot. And incidentally, Mr. Easton, you pulled an awful boner about your chemistry. A couple of days ago, you said you knew nothing about it. Yesterday, after your circus performance, you knew all about calcium carbide. Even its chemical symbol, CaC2. That practically indicted you.
But why should I have killed him? I had no reason to.
You're wrong again. Men only kill for 2 reasons. The first is, shall we say, passion. And you're in love with Mrs. Foster, isn't he?
Why, that's ridiculous.
Is it? And why did you engage 2 staterooms on the Queen Mary?
I took the other one from my maid, Celeste. She's sailing with me.
Without a passport. But you've got one. You applied for one the day before yesterday. I checked with the Passport Bureau this morning.
Coincidence.
The other motive was money. There's a fortune in that formula that Foster has just perfected, and you were all out for it. You and Quillen and Stava. Well, Mr. Easton, what do you think of my case now?
A lot of fancy rhetoric that can't be proved in court.
And again, you're wrong. You're convicted the minute the jury listens to the testimony of Joe Ballerino and Mike Sterling.
I never heard of them.
That's not what they said downtown.
I don't care what they said. It doesn't concern me.
Oh, yes, it concerns you. When your 2 henchmen, scared stiff they may have to trade places with you in the chair, make a deal with headquarters.
Listen, Travers, You don't expect me to believe that, do you?
Yes, I do. And the boys believe Conroy when he promises to drop charges on their attempts on my life for a full confession. They've come across, and you might as well come clean, too.
Stand still. All of you. Or I'll let you have it. Norma, go out and get the car ready. Stand right where you are. Or I'll drill the first one that makes a move.
And when your correspondent thought he had his case pretty cold, there was only one thing to do. Get the murderer to convict himself. This we did when we told Easton that his hired men had cracked under the 3rd degree. And the good old game of cheating cheaters worked, which was the straw that broke the camel's back. The police are holding Quillen as an accomplice. And now, before your favorite aircaster, I hope, signs off, here's a tip to the news editors. Flash, lovely Lois Allen and Perry Travers are going to try to prove that two can live as cheaply as one. It can't be done.
Greetings. We hope you enjoy watching Hastings Mystery Theater and the film you just viewed. Randall Schaefer, his wife Judy and program manager Dan LeClaire combined efforts to bring these productions to you, free of charge, and almost always without ads. We love seeing the comments you leave about our movies in the comments section under each video production. This means so much to us. Also, Randall appreciates receiving and responding to your many emails. Thank you viewers, for liking, commenting and subscribing to our channel, and hit the notification bell so you won't miss an upload. Blessings to you, from Hastings, Michigan, USA.
Mrs. O'Malley and Mr. Malone, a pair of wacky characters the like you've never known. Put them together, the shooting begins. Everyone loses and nobody wins, not even Mr. Malone. Mrs. O'Malley, I just met a dame, love each hair on her head. Mr. Malone, she is all that you claim, absolutely beautiful, but dead. Dead?
Dead as a burnt boot. You ever hear of a horse thief named Sean O'Malley?
No.
Well, one time he was pretty well known around Butte. When I first met him, he was dealing crooked cards and working phony lottery swindle. But after he was married, he switched to corn liquor and cattle rustling.
I'm telling you that the murderer is running around loose on the train right now. And every minute you keep us tied up here, you're helping him get away.
Don't you ever run down?
I'm just trying to tell you that...
tell me nothing. 2 dead bodies and $10,000 in stolen money in your room.
You call that evidence?
Joni, as I was saying, it was...
How'd you two happen to meet up?
Mr. Malone is an eminent artist. He wants me to pose for him.
Don't even take off your gloves.
Mrs. O'Malley and Mr. Malone, excitable, ignitable, a walking danger zone. In between murders, it's nice to have known Mrs. O'Malley and Mr. Malone. Mrs. O'Malley and Mr. Malone.